Sandra, welcome back.
Thank you.
We did a podcast already about Medicare,
Yep.
and now we brought you back because of some new changes to Medicare.
Yes, some big changes in
Yep.
2025. Yes.
And so we want to do just an add-on episode to our previous episode about the changes to Medicare that have been announced and what that means for our clients and or listeners.
Right.
So what is new with Medicare?
Okay, so they've had some big changes. So as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act, there was a lot of changes that had to happen to Medicare in 2025. The biggest change is that they've done away with the donut hole, or the Medicare gap. So a lot of people don't even know what that is. It just sounded really scary. Basically, it had to do with your prescription drug coverage, that after you reached a certain amount of money that you spent, you went into what they called the gap or the donut hole, and that meant your premiums or your part of the prescription plan coverage was higher. You had to pay 25% of whatever that drug cost, not just your copay. So that's not so bad if the drug cost was only, $15, but if the drug cost was $1,000, like some drugs are, you're paying, $250. So that was scary. And then once you reached another higher amount, like $8,000, I think it was, then you hit catastrophic coverage, which meant your, as of 2024, 2023, it was totally covered again. So that big gap was hard for people, and so they've done away with that gap. And so now what that means is that once you have reached your true out-of-pocket limit has reached $2,000, you now into the catastrophic coverage, which means everything's 100% covered again.
So this sounds a little complicated.
Yes, it does.
And a simple way of saying it, basically, if I understand correctly, is that they had some areas that they wanted to adjust to make it less complicated. Yes. And now it potentially could be more expensive.
Yes. So it sounds like it's going to be great, because what they've done is they've done away with the donut hole with that extra coverage that was higher for the client, which sounds really great. But what they also did was they adjusted who pays for what as far as the prescription drug coverage goes. There used to be a little balance between Medicare and the client and pharmaceutical companies and the prescription drug coverage insurance companies. Now it's after you've reached this $2,000 limit, it's completely on the drug company. Completely on the prescription plan companies, the insurance companies, right? So, which sounds like it'd be great, except for you and I both know that if an insurance company now has to pay more for something, they're going to try to recoup their costs somewhere. So the biggest changes we've seen is they've raised people's deductibles a little bit. They've maybe raised some of the premium costs of being on a prescription plan. There's other things like some companies have done away completely with PPO plans and only gone to Advantage plans. So really what you really have to know about, what your client really needs to know about, is that there are big changes happening in 2025. They don't need to understand them all, they just need to know they're coming. And so what we need to tell them is you need to look for your annual notice of change from your insurance company, which they send every year around the 1st of October, which tells you what's going to change in your coverage. And so watch for that. And once you've got that, it'll tell you, okay, this is what your plan was, this is what it's going to be in 2025. And that's what you look at. If it's going to be something that's overwhelmingly scary for you, something they've changed that just doesn't work for your situation anymore, then you need to worry. If you look at it and go, oh, well, they haven't really changed that much, I'm okay with it, then you don't have to do anything.
So, too bad there wasn't somebody, like a service, where they could just help walk you through this.
Well, that's me, right? Nice try. The thing is, people are going to call their insurance company. If they've already got a plan, they're going to call the plans and say, what do I do now?
And insurance companies will review all the insurance plans out there and tell them which is the best.
No, that's not the case, right? So the problem with that is they're only going to tell you what their company offers.
So you need someone independent that can look at it from a outside view.
Perspective. Yeah. You want somebody who can look at all the plans in your area, not just one insurance company's plan.
Okay.
Because some other insurance company might have handled it completely differently, and their plan is lots better for you at that time.
Okay.
So we have during this open enrollment period of October 15th to November. October 15th to December 7th, where you can make changes to your plan going forward in 2025.
Okay. So, well, good. That's great. So some updates. When you first said they're getting rid of the donut hole, I would, of course, the way I'm thinking food. And I'm sure hopefully most
I don't know why they were called it that. That would have been donuts are nice. You should have.
Yeah, but you don't want to get rid of the donut hole, so it's a waste of donut. So,
right.
No, that's really good information. So I will tell you that I've been, doing financial planning for a long time. I've always kept my ear and listening on what the Medicare is about and the changes, and I can tell you that I still could barely scratch the surface. So I'm really grateful to have a relationship with you that you can help my clients, maybe help some of our listeners figure out what they need to do.
Absolutely.
Because at some point you're like, I don't understand any of this. Let me just
it can
call
be kind
somebody.
of confusing. So just call somebody who's got the ability to look at everything in your area and find out what's the best for you.
Because it could save you money.
It should. Yeah. That's the
or
whole point, right?
Keep you from paying more money, I guess. Or if you're in a situation where you're going to pay more money, no matter what, figuring out what is the best right amount of money to spend.
Right, because what you want to have is the lowest premium you can get with the highest coverage you can get, right? And try to make sure that your prescriptions are covered. So that's another way they've made changes, is that they've changed their formulary. So is my prescription still covered or not? So that's another thing that people need to look for. That change.
Thank you for doing this with me. I know it's short, but short and sweet is the way we like to go.